It was late afternoon while I cleaned my bedroom when I heard the door creak behind me. Turning around, I saw Liam standing in the doorway, gazing at the object in my hand. My heart stopped. How could I explain this? The item was anything but innocent. A large, brightly colored toy that no one could ignore. I had pulled it out to clean behind the cabinet, thinking nothing of it. I thought I had locked the door. Liam, my 23-year-old stepson, wasn't supposed to be home yet. He typically worked late at a local brewery. But there he was, tall, lean, with dark hair falling into amused blue eyes. "What's that?" he asked, his tone a mix of curiosity and teasing. My face flushed bright red. I dropped the toy as if it burned me and grabbed a throw pillow to cover it. "It's none of your business," I stammered, my throat tightening, but his expression didn't change. He leaned against the doorframe, curiosity growing. "You know you don't have to act embarrassed," he said with a smirk. "It's not like I haven't seen something like that before." I wanted to crawl into a hole. How could he stand there so casually while I felt my world spiraling? I forced a nervous laugh, desperate to deflect. "Liam, seriously, go mind your own business. You shouldn't even be in here." He didn't move. The silence hung between us, now filled with a tension I had never felt before. He wasn't looking at the pillow anymore, but at me, his gaze deep and intense. I felt a strange flicker of warmth inside, mixed with guilt. This was wrong. I was his stepmother, married to his father. "Please, Liam, just go," I finally managed to say. He shrugged, lifting his hands in mock surrender. Okay, he said, though he shot me one last look that sent my thoughts spinning as the door closed behind him. I sat on the edge of my bed, pillow clutched to my chest, heart racing. I couldn't even return the toy to the drawer. Something invisible had changed between us. That evening, I fought to shake the moment as I went about dinner, folding laundry, and sitting next to Nathan, my husband, as he watched old westerns. But Liam's face, his smirk, the unsettling gleam in his eyes, haunted me. Nathan was absorbed in his hobbies. Gardening, woodworking, crossword puzzles. I didn't resent him. That would be too easy. Still, I often felt more like a caretaker than a wife. At one point, I caught a glimpse of Liam's shadow moving in his room, the faint hum of music filtering into the otherwise quiet house. My heart skipped a beat, and I turned back to Nathan. I wandered into the kitchen for a brief moment alone, but Liam entered, bare feet soft against the hardwood floor. He wore a faded t-shirt and sweatpants, hair tousled as if he'd just run his hands through it. "Hey," he said casually, opening the fridge for a bottle of water. "You're up late." "Just unwinding," I replied, trying to keep my tone light. He smiled, leaning against the counter. "It's not easy living here sometimes." His comment made me pause. "What do you mean?" He shrugged, though something serious flickered behind his expression. "Just living here again, I guess. I feel like I don't fit anymore." I felt a surge of maternal concern and softened. "It's just temporary, Liam. You'll figure it out." "Thanks, Sophia," he said, his voice warm. For a moment, we stood in silence, the kitchen feeling smaller as our proximity increased. He didn't look away, and that strange warmth returned. I cleared my throat, busying myself with wiping the counter to break the tension. "About earlier," he began. "You don't have to feel embarrassed. We're all human, right?" My hand froze. "Liam, let's not talk about that. It was an accident." Okay, he said, raising his hands in surrender, but the teasing edge in his smile made my stomach flip. He walked past me, close enough for me to smell his cologne. I didn't turn around, but I felt his presence behind me until he finally left the kitchen. That night, lying in bed next to Nathan, I couldn't shake what had happened. What was I doing? I had always maintained strict boundaries, yet Liam had a way of bending them without trying. And worse, I wasn't sure I wanted him to stop. The next morning, I tried to act normal while making breakfast. Eggs, toast, coffee for Nathan, a smoothie for myself. Liam came in last, his hair still damp from the shower. He greeted Nathan casually and smiled at me, making my pulse race. We sat together, the sound of silverware clinking mixed with snippets of conversation, but the tension beneath felt palpable. Each time our hands brushed while passing the salt or refilling coffee, it felt intentional. I caught him watching me more than once, gaze steady and unreadable. After breakfast, Liam offered to help with the dishes. I was surprised. He usually would vanish into his room or out with friends. "You don't have to," I replied, stacking plates in the sink. "I want to," he insisted, grabbing a dish rag. As we worked in silence, the air crackled with an electric tension. At one point, we reached for a glass simultaneously, hands colliding, neither of us pulling away. "You're different," he said quietly, barely above a whisper. "What do you mean?" I asked, my throat dry. "You don't act like other women your age." I laughed nervously, stepping back to create space. "Well, that's flattering, I suppose." "It's not just that," he said. "You're real. You actually listen. You see people." His sincerity surprised me, leaving me at a loss for words. I turned back to the dishes, feeling his proximity close behind. Just then, Nathan called from the living room, looking for his crossword book. The moment shattered, and Liam gave me a small, knowing smile. "Guess I should let you get back to him," he said, voice light as he walked away. I felt a mix of relief and longing. I knew I was playing with fire, yet part of me couldn't resist reaching for that heat. That afternoon, I kept busy with errands to avoid thinking about everything. When I returned home, I found Liam sitting on the porch steps, staring into the yard, deep in thought. "Hey," I said softly as I approached. He looked up, smiling slightly. "Everything okay?" I asked, sitting beside him but keeping a distance. "Yeah, just thinking," he replied, "about life, where I'm headed." I felt a surge of sympathy. "You don't have to have it all figured out yet. You don't seem like someone who should be stuck," he replied, looking at me. I felt a blush creep across my cheeks. "You're too alive for that." I looked away, setting my glass down on the table. "Liam, you shouldn't say things like that." "Why not?" he asked, meeting my gaze. "It's true," he continued, stepping back as I busied myself again. Nathan was snoring in his recliner while the TV droned on. I thought about waking him but didn't see the point. Instead, I got up and wandered to the kitchen for a brief moment alone, not lasting long as Liam entered again with a bottle of whiskey. "Can I offer you a drink?" he asked, raising an eyebrow. I hesitated, and he added, "Maybe tonight's an exception." I took the glass, grounded as I sat down, and Liam's presence felt intensely different. Conversation flowed, but the wall between us grew thinner each minute. "Can I ask you something?" he said suddenly. "Depends on what it is." His gaze fell, the weight of his question tangible. "Do you ever feel stuck?" His question startled me. It echoed something we had discussed before. "Sometimes," I admitted. "You don't seem like someone who should feel that way," he said earnestly. My cheeks flushed, and I looked down. "Liam, you shouldn't say such things." "Why not?" he pressed. Feeling overwhelmed, I stood up abruptly. "I think it's time we called it a night." The lights flickered as I turned to leave. The power went out, and I froze in shock. "Oh," I murmured, voice shaky. "Just the storm," Liam reassured, moving closer as he searched for a flashlight. The air grew thick with tension as his hand brushed against mine, and I gasped. "Sorry," he murmured, but he didn't pull away. His hand lingered on my wrist, warm and steady. My thoughts raced, and I felt trapped. "This is a bad idea," I said, voice trembling. "I know," he replied, holding my gaze. Then he kissed me. The kiss was soft yet electric. I leaned into it, gripping his shirt as if he were my only anchor in a chaotic world. Once the lights flickered back on, we pulled apart, heavy breaths filling the space. "This can't happen," I said, shaking my head in disbelief. "I know," Liam said, his voice unyielding. The following days were a blur of glances and unspoken words. I tried to avoid him, filling my days with chores. Despite my efforts, I couldn't forget the warmth of his lips or the way his hand had lingered on my wrist. One evening while folding laundry, I saw Liam appear in the doorway. "We need to talk," he said firmly. I didn't look up. "There's nothing to talk about." "Yes, there is. Liam, whatever this is, it has to stop." "Is it?" he asked, challenging me. "It feels wrong," I said, struggling to find my voice. His eyes bore into mine. "You're afraid of what people will think, or maybe afraid of what you might think." I shook my head, stepping past him. "Please, let's not do this," I murmured. That night, lying beside Nathan, I couldn't escape the chaos inside me. My mind raced with emotions I couldn't untangle. Eventually, I crept into the kitchen, seeking a moment of peace, only to find Liam waiting for me in the hallway. "Can't sleep?" he asked gently. I nodded silently. For a moment, we exchanged steady gazes, the silence lingering until I turned and walked back to my room, closing the door behind me. Deep down, I knew this wasn't over, whatever this dangerous thing between us was. Then it happened again, this time in the laundry room of all places. I was pulling warm towels from the dryer, seeking solace in my routine. The house was quiet. Nathan had gone to a friend's house for a game. I thought I was alone until I heard Liam's voice behind me. "You're always working," he remarked lightly, but with an unplaceable tone. "I have to," I replied, trying to sound neutral. "Don't you ever tire of it? Taking care of everything, everyone." His words struck me sharply. "This isn't the conversation we should be having." "Why not?" he pressed, leaning against the doorframe. "Because it's not appropriate." "That doesn't equal honest," he retorted. "I'm trying to protect us," I whispered, anxiety gripping me. "From what?" "From this blowing up in our faces." He stepped closer, brushing against my hand. It felt like the ground beneath me was shifting. "Tell me you don't feel it too," he urged softly. Words failed me. I couldn't lie. Then he kissed me again. This time, I didn't stop him. Days followed filled with stolen glances. We were careful, but we thought that. Excuses turned into rushed moments and whispered secrets. It was thrilling, invigorating, but the weight of it hung heavily over me. Every time Nathan looked at me, I panicked, worrying if he could see through my act. "We need to talk," I stated one afternoon, feeling the walls close in on me. "About what?" Liam asked, expression unreadable. "This. Us," I replied, firm. He narrowed his gaze, frustration brewing. "What about us?" "This has to stop," I said, courage faltering. "It's not fair to you," he argued. "Fair to Nathan," I snapped. "Are you worried about him?" Liam pressed, voice rising. "You're so preoccupied with him that you don't even think about what you want." My heart sank. He was right, but didn't have the strength to admit it aloud. The breaking point came when Nathan invited CLA and her husband for dinner. I played the perfect hostess, but her probing eyes never left me. After dinner, she cornered me in the kitchen. "You've been awfully distracted," she remarked, tone casual but probing. "Just busy," I said, forcing a smile. "Does Nathan know?" I froze. Dread washed over me. "No. Just be careful, Sophia. Secrets have a way of surfacing." That night, I grappled with her words as I lay beside Nathan, feeling trapped. The next morning, I found Liam in the garden, pulling weeds. "You're avoiding me," he said, frustration lacing his tone. "I'm trying to protect us," I replied. "Protect us from what?" "From this blowing up in our faces," I insisted. "Who are you protecting?" "Clara knows," I said finally. "Clara? How could she know?" "I don't know," I shouted. "But she does." Then Nathan came home unexpectedly early. We were in the laundry room, standing dangerously close when we heard the door open. "Sophia," Nathan called. I froze, heart pounding. In here. He appeared, scanning the room. I thought he would say something, but the moment passed. Dinner ready? He asked and left. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind replayed the encounter, and I felt the tension build. Then it came crashing down. Nathan confronted Liam as I watched, heart racing. I know what's been going on. Nathan's voice cut through the air, sharp as ice. What are you talking about? Liam replied, guarded. Don't pretend you don't know, Nathan snarled. I see the way you look at her. My breath caught. Nathan knew. You're imagining things, Liam protested. I have eyes. Nathan shouted angrily. Stop, I yelled, stepping between them. Nathan, please. He turned to me, hurt flashing in his eyes. How could you, Sophia? I didn't want to hurt you. I can't even say it. He trailed off. Liam reached for my hand, but panic overtook me. I pulled away. I think it's best if I leave, I said, voice trembling. Nathan's eyes hardened. You're not going anywhere. If anyone is leaving, it's him, he snapped, directing his fury toward Liam. I protested, but Nathan cut me off. You made your choice, Sophia. Live with it. Liam packed that night, his movements tense. I followed him outside, my heart breaking with every step. I'm sorry, I whispered. It's not over, he promised, voice steady. As his car vanished down the street, I felt a chaotic mix of guilt and longing settle over me. The following days dragged on, Nathan silent and distant. I buried myself in chores, but couldn't shake the emptiness. A week later, a letter arrived, postmarked with no return address, just my name in Liam's writing. I opened it, hands trembling, heart racing. Sophia, it began. I know things are complicated, but I need you to know this isn't over. I won't walk away from you. I'll be waiting. I read it again, fighting the urge to tear it up. Part of me clung to his words like a lifeline, but fear held me back. That night, I tucked the letter away, knowing deep down that Liam was right. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot.